This is the practice.
Let's get going. Call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barron?
I guess we'll pledge allegiance first.
Oh,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barron?
Yes.
Mr. Christensen is absent. Mr. Popa?
Here,
And Mr. Wolfer.
and I'm very sorry if that's in the minutes.
What's
Public comment. We will move on to approval of agenda, late additions and deletions. I'd like to make one addition, quick statement of something that Scott and I learned last week as we walked around the park with the insurance agent. So insurance review, let's put right after approval of minutes. We'll call it 1A.
Where are you putting it?
Oh, I put it at 1A. Any other change you want, any other addition to our agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda with that one addition.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of minutes. I've only found one change, really.
Okay.
Page 2, under a brief tour of Veronica Valley Park. It says review of work assignments. It says Walter will create a scaled rendering of the proposed park design. Should be parking lot design.
Okay. Parking lot design?
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I recommend approval of the minutes.
As amended.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, John, does everybody have this?
Okay, the first sheet was on there in 21.
Before you get too involved, make sure you speak right into the microphone and the telephone.
Do
Good.
you have another one, John?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I should have. Okay, this was done a couple years ago, 2021. Number 1, follow county entry guidelines. That has been completed and the entry curve is there. Assume gravel parking at this time. No parking lanes is a part of a factor of the design. And paving really is about $60,000 if you pave that parking lot. How many parking spaces? Good question. Talked to Scott a couple of years ago, and he says, well, I haven't seen more than about 15 cars there at a time. So does, Scott, do you want to say any more to that?
18 to 20 is what we've,
Well, that would be like a maximum. If
Okay.
there's 3, 4 cars, that's.
Yeah.
so you have 20 here on the drawing. I think if,
That's fine.
that's fine, and if we find the setback required by Bingham is more, we can eat up.
Yes, that's a good point, Dave. I thought this was Centerville Township, and trying to get an idea of the setbacks. Here's our 40 feet. I will check in with Bingham Township,
Setback from what?
setback from the road for parking, John.
property line.
the property line back. Yes.
Back.
Mhm. I will check through that and verify that. And then you may consider or want to make that a greater setback in order to take the parking lot closer to the existing, on the second sheet, it shows the existing parking lot. The drawing you have shows it about 20 or 30 feet from that rounded edge. It may be that we want to move the start of the parking lot up to that point in an effort to just design for 20 and reduce the amount of gravel and maintenance area.
Sounds good.
If, once you find out the setback requirement, are we going to be able to establish this corner
Yes,
so that then we can move across to
Um,
establish this line? Well,
that's a good question, Dave. Which one do you start? I started about 10 feet out from the cedar trees, thinking that, well, Scott could have a little bit around the area. And because you're looking at the parking lot, the existing lanes are not parallel. I'm not sure, I'd like your input as to which, are either one of those lines what we want to start at, or do we want to start perpendicular to the road?
so when you say either one of those lines, one of them being the existing fence line
Yes,
on the pond side, do we want to have that as the established line of the parking lot and take other measurements from that
you
position?
can. I was out there this afternoon to verify these dimensions, and right now from the line, oh, I'm sorry, the line from the entry, I started near the cedar trees and went across the pavement, and right now that line is about 5 or 6 feet inside the fence line. But if you go up from that, then that's more parallel to the opposite side. You can, if you want to keep the fence line where it is, and say, okay, we're going to work with the fence line. If you want to keep that, we can work with the fence line and modify the other side.
Keep the other side parallel to it.
Yes,
All right. What do here's, we had money in the budget to pour a concrete pad. My concern is that we know enough about how we want the full future development to be, that if we put in a pad now, it's in the right place.
yes, I think that's,
And what do we need to do to get that
um,
painted out on the ground?
I can do that. It's a decision, do you want to stay parallel to the fence line?
I would.
Okay,
I mean,
then I'll stake it out that way.
Scott, do you see any reason to change, just so we're all talking about the same thing?
Uh-huh.
This line right here is not perpendicular to the property line.
Or the other side of the parking lot.
Or parallel to this. I would think we keep this.
Keep it and have that drawing and make it perpendicular to it. Parallel to it, and there you go.
Yeah, I think
Take this whole drawing,
This is already an established
and
line.
Scott's walked this out so many times, and
Mhm.
paint it on the ground, and then we'll pick a spot. We've been talking about this for
Well,
2 years.
I know, and that's why we want to get some lines on the ground. Now, it brings us to this point.
Just trying to find a good picture, you know, nothing to do with.
We don't have money to pave it this year. What do you have there, Scott?
I was looking for the ones with the curbing on it,
Yeah.
a more recent photo, because that's old.
Let's go lay out that trash container and bathroom thing.
Now, that isn't a huge job to get a pad poured, what's it gonna be?
Scott said,
Say 10 feet wide by 20 feet long or something, I'm just pulling numbers. Scott, you mentioned that Jerry had said he would do
I
the
said
plat.
Jerry would do it, right?
However, Steve raised a number of questions about that yesterday. Whether or not the county would want that employee doing that extra work. Just cause, Steve's point was if he was Deb Allen, he wouldn't allow it because of the risks of some sort of injury to Jerry or, well, I don't know the
I don't
answer
know
to
if
this.
Jerry would do it anyway.
Well, this is the thing is, we know that Miles Kimmerly wants a pad poured for their porta potties. I wondered, can we do all of that under one RFP?
It's no big deal to pour it concrete, we do it here all the time.
I'm sorry to do.
We've done it here, pour concrete.
Yeah, who does the flat work finish?
Jerry.
So what does it take to get this pad poured? Do we need permission from Board of Commissioners or what? Let's go frame it up and ask if Jerry wants to do it. If he doesn't, then we'll have to find a dirt guy to do it. It's not gonna cost $50,000.
Should we try to coordinate with Miles Kimmerly and do two of them?
I wouldn't. We can't coordinate what we do at our meetings now.
Well, and it seems.
You're not gonna save anything because of the
Right.
Okay. And it seems to me that
We
would be.
wouldn't order 100 yards. 20 yards of concrete, yeah, 40 you're at there.
That's what I.
You can't haul concrete without it getting warm that far.
So, if we, the three of us, can get lines drawn on the ground, measurement, do we hire a contractor to frame it in? And
We'll talk to Jerry, see if Jerry can do it or will do it. If he says, no, I don't have time to do it, then we'll have to get on a phone and call somebody. And it's not gonna be that much. What's the manager's limit?
I actually found a board resolution that the county board passed that gives this body the authority to do a lot more than what they normally would. And I gave that copy to Steve. I've got it in my files.
It gives who the permission to?
This body could actually do quite a bit more on their own than having to go hand in hand to the board all the time.
Parks and Rec.
Now, if this is an internal issue, you don't even have to go to the board because it's going to be well under $2,500. And I think they changed their budget rules last year for this year to make it $4,500. So if it's under 45, then you don't have to worry about it.
Right, so we just gotta go see who can do it, because contractors are busy right now. And
How do we proceed to find contractors without putting out RFP?
you go to the phone book, call people.
You can get some quotes that way.
Yeah,
You know, just, you have the specs that you could send them by email or fax and just say, I'd like an estimate of what this is gonna be, and then
Right.
whoever responds,
you get them.
pick
Okay,
the
You need
product.
a pad 13 by 13, 5 inches thick.
Or a little sketch, and we'll put some flags there after we go figure out where we want. The flags are there if you wanna go look at it. And we need a pad poured. Are you available, and can you get it done by October? Something like
If they
that.
have to do any groundwork on the lot
Nothing.
yet, takes the topsoil off.
That's it,
When can the three of us get out there and,
right after the meeting, if you wanna go there.
No. I'll do something better then. I'll start here and maintain this radius, it relates to the 35-foot deal. I'll come back to 21 car space on this line there, and then show where this ends. So we're not creating a lot more space. See, right now, the parking lot starts 20 feet up from the property line. Well, if you don't have to do that, and this suffices the parking, then you could just stay right here because it's very close to the existing opening for the handicap. Now, I can lay that out next week.
Next week, I'm not
Can we do it
available.
tomorrow?
I can, well, you need to do a few things, John, Walter.
Yeah,
Um,
it's on Wednesday,
Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday.
yeah.
I mean, a few things in terms of on paper, so
Well, I'll go out there and lay it out in reality.
I see. I am good, I'm good any day this week. Next week, I'd be good Monday and Tuesday and Friday.
Veronica Valley meeting, 1 PM.
You gotta fire your notes taker there.
I'm free tomorrow, I'm free Thursday afternoon, I'm free Friday.
John Walter, you're the one who's got the
Yeah,
tight schedule right
I'm gonna do it Thursday afternoon or anytime Friday, because I need to go out there, stake it, just mistake so we can actually see it.
Draw your sketch and we can stake it while we're out there. You want to stake it before we go out there?
Yes. Saves a lot of time than the 3 people out there. We measure around with them.
You want a paint can or do you got one?
I got a paint can.
now. So you need to do that step before the 3 of us get
Yeah,
together
okay.
to finish.
Right, I think it makes sense to go out and say, yeah.
Do you need help staking or anything?
No, I'm okay, this isn't a big deal.
So is Friday afternoon a time?
Sure.
What time, John? Boba, for you, Friday afternoon? What's your choice?
No idea. You pick a time. And I won't be there.
1 o'clock.
Don't pick 1 o'clock. It's right here.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Well, I don't know the weather on Friday.
Hey, you're the weatherman.
That's, yeah, I haven't
It's
looked.
gonna be hot.
Yeah, it's not gonna be cool, that's
And
for
if we
sure.
move it, we move it.
Let's make it 1 o'clock if we can on Friday.
Okay.
1 o'clock Friday?
Yeah. Oh, I should have asked you this question too. I'm sorry. Is that okay? You'd prefer it late in the day though, wouldn't you? Oh,
Yeah, let him go home on Friday. Let's go Friday afternoon.
Degrees.
how about 9:30 Friday morning?
Great.
Now it's 9:30?
Yep,
Yep. 9:30, sold.
right.
9:30 Friday morning, Veronica
Okay.
Valley. Oh, Laurel. The 3 of us can't be there, can we?
Here's the thing, you're rendering towards a decision today, and now you're just gonna go out, you've already made your decision. Understand what it is. You've made your decision, so all you're doing is you're staking it out. You've already made your decision.
To go
That's the
out
way
there.
I-
Oh, I see.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
We won't look at it any
Sounds
other
good.
way.
There
That
won't
sounds
be
good.
motions or decisions, but I see what
You've
you
made
mean.
that decision today.
I'm just going to wait out.
If
Excellent. Any suggestions of contractors I should call? Or just start on a list that I can throw together?
I wouldn't call them and sit until we say how big the pad is and where it's located.
Gotcha.
Because if you called someone today, and said, well, where's it at? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha.
We'll say, no, we painted it out where we want to put it.
Gotcha.
Also, I'll bring with me then, one of the barrier-free bathrooms, or they're kind of a hexagon or something like that.
Well, we'll paint it out, whatever it's got to be.
Yeah, but I should bring that size of that. So,
So that we, yes,
so you got that plus
plus the normals.
an entry,
Yeah.
okay?
Then we need to ask Jerry whether he wants to do it, right?
Should I go down and talk to Jerry?
Scott, should we ask Jerry whether he wants to do it? All right.
You will? Okay. Okay. Oh, you're gonna go down there now? Okay. Okay.
All right. Porta potty concrete pad, that's the same pad?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about there. It comes under review of the parking lot plans.
What I'm saying is we have two porta potties, one's barrier-free and one's a different one, standard.
I think two standard and the.
So you're gonna come up with a sketch for those two?
So it'll be
and we'll-
three
Yeah,
altogether.
I've got this, pardon?
It'll be three porta potties
Oh,
altogether.
three,
The
okay.
two that we already have, well, I don't know. I've only been assuming this, that
Okay,
it would be the two that we have plus a new one for universal access. Maybe we just need two.
I thought
One
I
each,
thought
one each.
if there's only, yeah.
No, because the universal's usable by anybody. That's the
Can
point.
you do one pad that will accommodate a universal and a normal?
Mhm.
Right,
I mean, that's our intent.
yeah, it's not a big deal.
Okay. I think we're done with that. Let me move on to weed management in the ponds.
Is that the update on obtaining a permit?
Pardon me?
Or update on obtaining a permit, is that right?
Yeah, down to item 4. First of all, if you recall, we, as the commission, made a decision. Laurel has reminded me that it was way back in February or March even, that we voted as a full commission to hire Savin Lake Services again.
Actually, you've made a recommendation on the committee level, and when it came to the regular session, you said you were gonna hold off on that. So it never formally.
I see. So the recommendation came from our committee to the, got it. In any case, we did not, the decision was that the thinking was, with Heather Hedinger's approval in that sense, agreement, the decision was we probably could manage the weeds in the pond ourselves with pelletized. The issue for this year was algae, so a pelletized algicide that we would spread from shore in spot locations, not trying to treat the whole pond or wipe it all out. So immediately the issue of a permit, which comes from the State Department called EAGLE. I can't remember what EAGLE stands for exactly, but it's not really from the DNR. It's a separate agency. In learning about that, it's pretty much a matter of filling out the application. The application does require a specific detailed list of the chemicals to be used, the plants to be eliminated.
That's so that Scott can have this permit
Well, that's a permit for,
for anybody to do it?
no, that's just a permit for the county as the owner to engage in this. It doesn't dictate exactly how it's done. Now, what I've gone through is to find out the permit comes from EAGLE.
Right.
But the application has to be done by, well, the licensing or certification of the person who applies the chemicals comes under the Department of Agriculture. They've been a pain in the neck until yesterday to get communications from them. I had a long conversation finally with Department of Ag person yesterday. I got information from him this morning, which simply took me back to their website, which is one of the least helpful websites I've ever had to deal with. It's all there, but it doesn't help you navigate to find where the stuff is. But what I found is we don't need the license because we're private and governmental, doing it on our own property for, not for any pay. But whoever is applying it must be a certified applier. The license is there if you're going to make money on doing this. The certification is there to make sure whoever's doing it knows what they're doing. However, I've learned yesterday that it's not only one test to become certified, it's two. You have to pass the core, the core test that covers application of herbicides in general, but then you have to pass a second test that's specific for aquatic applications. The tests can be done online, they can be done in person at various sites, etc., but they require quite a bit of study. The textbook for the study is not supplied, it's a separate purchase. And again, there are two tests. So there's a bit of study and a whole test involved in getting a certification to throw pellets out in the water. Now, Steve Christensen is certified, and I think he said he had both, certification and license. Turns out his certification isn't any good unless he would go back, I suppose, and do the study and the test in the aquatics division, because he doesn't have certification to do anything with aquatic applications. I don't know how all that sounds to you. To me, it sounds like
we should hire this guy.
we need to revisit that decision. And
That guy, when Scott feels we need it or something, just schedule him or something. But his contract was big to do everything. We just need him.
well, this is something I haven't explored, and I will with Sabin. Their basic kind of bottom line contract was $2,500 roughly, and they got a name for it, basic pond management plan or something like that, and that was a minimum of or two, if required, two visits, two applications in a season. They get the permit to do it because they have the license and the certification already done. And I agree. I think that the idea that we could do some of this ourselves probably isn't going to work.
Not if you gotta go have Scott take a bunch of tests
Well,
and the book is that thick.
whether it's Scott or anybody else, the point is it shouldn't be one of us. I mean, it really needs to be a county employee to be certified, et cetera, et cetera. So that's an assignment to somebody.
Because there is a lot of liability.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long is the certification? Do you have to renew it every year then? Once
You know,
get it, you get it.
Yeah, well, I know there are renewals, but I don't know the answer. How long does the first certification last? We can get a permit from Eagle for 4 seasons, 4 consecutive seasons. The single permit would be good over time. With that, I recommend that we have, well, there would be another issue involved if we were all trying to do all this ourselves, and that is that the permit then needs to identify, in effect, 4 years worth of weeds. What might you run into that you're going to want to deal with? Both algae and broadleaf weeds, they want the specific names of every plant you're going after, and then a listing of the chemicals you're going to use. So it takes some knowledge just to fill out the application blanks. And I don't see that happening from our volunteer
So you're
group.
saying if we hire somebody, part of that fee is that he has to get a permit that's specific to us and he has to go fill all this stuff out?
He will have the certification and the license as an applier.
That's
He will have to get the permit.
So that means it's gonna take a while, because the Eagle permit is minimum of 90 days.
Salmon's did that. I don't think it took it that.
What was that?
Salmon did
The
that.
company we
And
contracted
no
with,
all permits.
yeah, they pulled all the permits what they wanted was our contractual agreement come early March. I don't know if it's exactly March 1st, but they wanted our contractual agreement so that they could chase that permit immediately and be ready
And we
by
dropped off.
June.
We didn't do
We
it.
dropped off because.
We didn't think we needed it this year. So we.
And we thought we could, and because it seemed to me, given our experience before, that this was a job we could handle on our own, not knowing this certification.
I see.
The only thing I'd heard about was a permit from Eagle, and I had investigated enough with Heather Hedinger to find out, well, that's possible. That we can do. But then to get into this, well, I found out we don't have to have the license, but we have to have certification. And that turns out to be 2 tests, 2 lines of study.
So do we need it this year yet?
No, this is my next point. I think we can get through this year, and at this point, literally not have to carry on this discussion a whole lot farther. But
So let's
that thing-
pursue it for next year.
And then we will pursue that beginning right away next year, because Savin will push us on that. Now, I want to check with Savin about, I want to find out talk to them more about spot treatment, and can they use pellets from the shore instead of spraying the whole pond. Both Heather and I thought we'd had adequate discussion with them about that before, but we need to straighten that out.
I thought you got to spray because that algae's on top and pellets go to the bottom, which is good for the other. I'm not an expert at it.
No, you can do both.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go for it. I remember this discussion in April. We said, hey, we're going to not do it this year, but we can always do it the following year. And that's when we were saying to keep that kind of stuff in our plans,
And one of the prime,
that we don't have to.
one of the prime reasons I thought that this would work is because, at least this year, is because I anticipated that our real problem, and this was talking with Heather, was going to be with algae. And we do have more algae than we have the other plants. But again, I thought it was a matter of simply getting the permit from Eagle.
She has a question.
Yeah, I know. And then paying the money for the product. Scott had found, we knew the product. Scott had found a local supplier that was going to be much less money than 2 other places we checked, et cetera, et cetera. Then I found out, no, we got to have all this certification. And that's been a slow process because of Laurel's backlog, just getting far enough to get me into a position to start learning some of these things. So I think I'm of a mind that we're going to put this off. Go ahead, Laurel.
Well, if you were to look back at the notes of the meeting that Heather attended, I think it was virtually, and then with this group, and then in person with the regular session, or vice versa. She had said that she was really stressing a wait-and-see attitude when it came to treating algal growth in the ponds this year, because Savin had eradicated everything, and the things that are popping back, you have to wait until that pond balances out before you really start applying again. She said they just caught everything.
And that was one reason we stopped it this year, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
of what she said?
Yeah.
They were scheduled for so many visits, and then they ended up not coming or not treating one of those visits because the
No,
ponds were totally cleaned out still.
I don't know.
yeah, this was last year. They came twice. I was there both times. And I could see that we didn't have, at the time of those visits, we did not have a whole lot of growth going on. There just wasn't a need. My memory from discussion with Heather this past spring, you're going to get algae first, and that she felt we could manage that with,
Throwing it on the shore and letting it dry, right?
well, that, but also, no, she talked about our using pelletized herbicide spread by hand from the shore, that was for algae, that was going to be good. She did say anything more than algae, let's wait and see what comes back and how that goes. I think we're in the position of doing that with everything right now and simply revisit this issue of, do we hire a contractor? Is it going to be Savin? We can put all that off till January. In the meantime, I'm gonna talk with Savin more about, listen, we don't wanna wipe everything out. We want spot treatment. What can you offer in that area? But I think right now, we can go on hold as far as doing anything more this season.
So in conclusion, you're gonna do a little more research with Sal.
With Savin, yeah.
Okay.
And then this issue of hiring the contractor will come back up first of
Okay.
next year.
I think it's fine.
Okay. The other thing I have, and I know nothing about this because I haven't been able to get back to Heather. Steve told me to talk. Hadn't thought about checking with Heather until yesterday. Well, I haven't gotten her in that 24-hour period. During fishing day, a number of people complained that there weren't many fish and fish weren't being caught. I heard that as I took pictures and walked the length of the pond. I parked back at the overflow and I walked that whole length of the pond and just took pictures and listened to people talking. And did ask one family out on the bridge actually, and they said, no, you know, it's just not like it has been in previous years. We're just not seeing this many fish being caught. The only ones I saw caught were very little ones by very little girls, as a matter of fact. But last week, when we were there for the insurance walk around, that family was telling us there aren't any fish.
I've never seen such a small bluegill get caught.
Yeah. What got them all excited
Those
is,
were planted.
well, yeah. They were all excited because before we got there, just before I got there, their first line in the water by the young man, they got one of the larger bass that they threw back in, but they were all excited about. And then we're reporting, hey, we don't even see fish. I haven't seen a fish in there. I haven't seen a one. No, you did not, Scott, you reported that you didn't see the dead fish that in numbers after kids fishing day that you've seen before. But they weren't as bad as previous years, is what I got from you. Yeah. And I don't know there's nothing for us to decide on this, except that I will be talking with Heather Hettinger and attempting to get a walk around with her, like in the next week or so.
Good.
Just to look at it and, you know, are all the fish down at the one end under all the algae? I know that filamentous algae breaks from the bottom and there are all kinds of tunnels and caves down underneath that. Is that where they're all gone?
Could be the algae sucking all the oxygen.
Actually, yeah, that's the one your nephew caught. Yeah, I did see it, yeah.
That's why.
The filamentous algae floats because of the oxygen bubbles that it generates itself
Kept it?
on the surface, and it finally makes it
That was an
so
amazing fight too.
buoyant
That thing's
that
gonna
it
eat
breaks
everything.
loose from the
That's good,
bottom and
Scott.
floats to the top. So it actually puts some oxygen into the water. Now, when it's dead, that's a different issue. That takes oxygen out of the water. But
Veronica found it. It's big. Oh, it's a rat. Beautiful. Can you put it back? Or?
you know, that really brings us to an end to the agenda.
Okay.
I know a couple of things again that I need to continue with. We're going to see each other at 9:30 Friday morning at Veronica, 9:30. And we'll take our next steps on that whole issue, okay?
That's this Friday.
That's this Friday.
Okay.
Is that
Yep,
suitable for
I'll
you?
make it work.
Okay.
Then make a motion, we adjourn, what?
No.
Well, I got a comment here. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about these minutes. Okay, we just approved minutes for April 25th. And they were here in front of us. But I got the agenda and it says that we had a meeting on April 12th. And this is the agenda for it.
And you're looking at both, you're talking both our committee only. I mean, you're not confusing a date with the full commission.
Maybe this one was when we did the tour, and this one was at our meeting. Okay, this was, the minutes we just approved was for the tour.
Right.
Where's the minutes to approve April 12th?
I have an April 10th meeting approved during the April 25th meeting.
I saw that too, but I got an agenda for April 12th.
I have to look into that, I'll write it down.
This was the tour meeting.
Well, April 12th at 11 a.m.
And we covered all this. We want to cover excuse me. Forget it.
Forget
Okay.
it.
Don't look into it. It was the wrong year.
You're just having a rough day.
It's terrible.
On the agenda, I think we're
Public comment?
public comment,
Yeah.
board member comment.
And I have a public comment.
Please, go ahead, you're public.
I'd like to thank John for all his help with doing
That really looks nice, though.
the boardwalk.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we went around that. It was fun. Did a lot
Did you
of
get
work.
swimmer's itch this time?
What's that?
Did you get swimmer's itch?
I didn't jump in.
No, we
Oh.
were go swimming.
No, I was ready
2
to.
times you damn near did.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had to get down in the water.
I thought we were gonna, but
Oh, good.
the way we had it worked out with those posts,
Good.
we did quite a bit there.
Okay. Got a board member comment?
John Walter, any comment?
No?
I'm done. I'll entertain a move to adjourn.
So,
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
okay.
Don't leave it. I'm gonna call Steve Patmore. If he answers his phone, I'll ask him about setbacks.
Oh, Jerry will do
Oh,
the concrete.
Oh.
is he covering Bingham?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great. And I can see him too.
Whatever we get to.
I see him further. That's a good.
We can look real quick if you wanna go on a computer.
And stuff.